DNA is really important. I think all golfers have their own like swing DNA, and understanding what your DNA is and your movement patterns and what are the things you can improve on identifying those is very challenging. And finding a coach that understands the difference, right? Like it's great to look at certain players and like, man, I want to swing like that. You just might not be able to. You might physically, your release, your grip, how you want to feel when you're going through might be totally opposite of what they actually do. So it's like really understanding like how you swing when it's really, really good, understanding that, and how you can improve on that swing and not going backwards trying to swing like somebody
Yeah, that's not going to work.
It's just not going to work, right?
Part 3 podcast.
Let's fucking go.
Stephen Malbon.
Oh my goodness.
Let's get right into it.
Put him down for the birdie, dog.
Just a bit outside.
Gang is back together.
Somebody give me your fucking putter. Poured the putt in.
I had to make it.
So you'd been on the tour for 3 years. You win that first tournament. What happens next? You start getting sponsors. Like how does the winning the first time on tour change? What changed?
Yeah, I think, I was not one to walk out on tour and think that I had this tremendous belief that I was going to do things. I couldn't say that I felt like destined to be great at golf or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I had a great junior and college career and really loved it. But I felt a lot of pressure. I overthought things too much. I wish I lived just like if I knew what I knew now, right? Like from that, it'd be a completely different story. But I held on a little bit too tight, and I felt like that relaxed me a little bit.
The win helped relax you.
Yes.
Like, okay, I won one.
Okay. I felt like I could do it. I knew I could do it. I really really believed it. Yeah. And I did it. And I came through. Right. And that's, the experience of that is so powerful. And so, played pretty good after that, was getting a little bit better and better, and made the President's Cup team
that year.
After that. Yeah. And so that was amazing. And that was in Montreal. Very cool. Jack Nicklaus calling me after the PGA Championship in Tulsa, and he called and said I was on the team, another like surreal moment. Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah. And then going there, playing was a lot because that was, all of a sudden, there's Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson and Nicklaus and Stricker, all these guys. At that time, the tour was it was pretty old and it was very mature. It wasn't very youthful. I feel like the tour is more youthful now. So it was like really looking up to those guys and being in the same room in them and being as equals was like, it was crazy. It was a really, really crazy moment. Winning by yourself is one thing, but like when you're just like in that room, that was kind of wild.
And all those green jackets and championships,
just everything,
just all that. Oof.
Playing with Phil, I got to play with Phil that week, and that was wild, really overwhelming because he's the best. I'm very biased toward him. I can't say anything about him. He's just been awesome to me in 1,000 different ways. So that was really cool, but that was a lot. And even my caddy and I were talking, it was like on every putt, he's like giving us like 3 reads. He's like, if you're going to hit this speed, it's going to be this read. This speed is going to be a little bit more, whatever. And we're like, bro, I'm just trying to hit the ball. Like, I don't know what's happening right now. And you're giving me 3 reads. And I'm like, I was known for hitting, great driver of the ball, and I couldn't hit a fairway. And he's yelling at me, but jokingly, and he's like, I'm playing with you to hit me fairways, and you're even putting me in the rough. What's going on? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm freaking out. Like I can't even articulate what's happening to me. So that was just a crazy, out of body experience. But that was huge for me because I made the Ryder Cup team the next year, and that gave me, without that experience.
Did you win the next year? When did you win again?
I think I won. I didn't win until like maybe
2 years later or something.
Like 2010, I think. And then I won Phoenix.
Waste management.
Yeah.
Beat Ricky.
Beat Ricky by close? Yeah. I think beat Ricky by 1 there.
Were you both wearing orange?
No. That was when he was full orange too. That was when it was just
that's when our mother,
gross. It was just aggressive. Yeah.
It was aggressive.
Yeah, it was aggressive. But when you're 23, you can get away with it,
Flat brim.
Yeah. But that was a cool place to win. Winning there was awesome, especially that week too. I remember we were on the cut line with 9 holes to go. And I was messing with this putting, and I was like, and we, it was just not, I was trying this different sort of pre-shot thing, and I was like, we cannot, this is just gross. And my caddy and I were like, what do we do here? Because we're hitting it great. We're just putting so bad that it's just killing us. It's just killing us. We can't score. And so we just kind of stopped, reset. Let's just go back to what we know. And we did it. And I think it shot like 31 or something. We made the cut and then shot like 65, and then ended up winning by like one. And it was just this tiny thing, right? It was just literally a change of routine. Yeah. That's all it was. Because we knew we were close. We knew like the ball striking's there. Everything's good. This is a course that demands fairways and greens, and you can really get after it. And that's kind of what we did. And so, but just a slight change. That's all it was. Yeah. And then, one there.
A little tick.
Just a tick. Just
a different putting pre-routine.
Yeah.
Or how you hold
it was just how we got into
something.
the putt. It was just completely how we got into it and how our rhythm was.
We just made some limited edition Part 3 podcasts, Champion Heather Gray sweatshirts. Get yours before they're gone on the part3podcast.com. And you went from shooting 36 on the front to 31 on the back.
We were shooting like 71, 72. And we were like, this is, ridiculous at that point because how good we were hitting on all the opportunities we had. And those greens are so perfect. You just get it rolling by the hole. You can make it. I mean, you can make anything. So, we were able to kind of turn around, and on that golf course, you get to the weekend, a lot can happen. We knew that, and so we kind of were able to turn around quickly and post a score and have everyone sort of chase us for the last few holes. But we got it done after that, and so all those experiences, they help going into Ryder Cups and stuff.
And then Ryder Cup that year is your first year Ryder Cup. Who called?
So this was a few years beforehand, but that was like Zinger called, and that was he changed like the whole flow of the team and that year and put us at that time it was I think he changed it so he get to pick 4 guys, and it was 2 for historically, 10 on points and then 2 picks, and he's like, I want 4 picks. I really want to create my team and make sure everyone's going to work in their groups, right? And so a little more free agency instead of like, I only get 2 guys that, I kind of want to create my team and to understand that everyone's a part of this thing in a good way. So he really took the advice of all the players, and, he had a vision for everything, and he got their advice, and I was with, he put me like in the Phil, AK, and Justin Leonard sort of pod. And it's kind of a funny mix. You wouldn't think like Anthony Kim and like Justin Leonard would be in the same grouping, but they kind of were in how they actually viewed the game of golf and how they wanted to play. And so Justin and I played together. We were kind of, I think the original plan was for me and Justin to play for 3 matches, and Anthony and I would play like the 4th match on Saturday because it's pretty taxing to play 5 matches. I mean, it's just a lot. Anthony had a really rough Saturday morning and didn't play good at all. So Phil and I ended up playing. We ended up getting a half, but just that little break for Anthony. He went Sunday morning and just wrecked Sergio.
That's the year with him with the flag.
Yeah, and he just wrecked Sergio that match. He was so hot, and he was so pissed on how he played, and no one could turn around faster than Anthony. That was maybe his greatest skill set was his ability to like not care, but in a way that he could just turn the page like that. Like that round, like he was playing, he was so disappointed in himself. He just turned the page, and the next day it was like, you never see a golfer with an attitude that can really take it to the golf course. Yeah. It's not easy, like in basketball, it's like there's an attitude you can bring, and you can sort of physically dominate somebody and show them how. Golf's really hard at that. Yeah. And that's not a thing that you can just enact and say, I'm going to take it to him today. It doesn't work that way. Right. But Anthony could do that. Like when you got him motivated and pretty much like set his sights on something, it was scary what he could do, because he could really take all that energy and put it into his swing, into his game. It was like no one was going to beat him that day. And that's the cool thing with the Ryder Cup in sports is like one moment, one time, 118 holes to go prove it and to go like, I'm going to beat that dude right there. And that's what's the greatest thing about the team events is like, I get to look at my guy in the face say, I'm going to beat you today.
First
That's
tee.
so cool. Because in golf, it's like there's a big, you know, you got groups and it's like, it's not as personal.
Yeah.
Ryder Cup's personal, right?
Hell
Like that's
yeah.
why the playoffs are so cool. It's like you get to look at those dudes every day on film, play, like you're sort of probably obsessed with them in a way.
100%.
And you get that. And that's why I think those Ryder Cups and those things are so cool, and those individual like eye-to-eye things you don't get much in golf. But when you do get them, they're special.
Stephen Malbon here. We'd like to present to you our sponsor, Glen Grant. Built as the first distillery in Scotland over 180 years ago, the Glen Grant single malt Scotch whiskey brings together inspiration from around the world. The Glen Grant crafts a range of single malt whiskeys which are delicate and complex with distinctive character. A new offering from the Glen Grant, released this year, is distinguished 25-year-old. It's fantastic and perfect after a long round of golf, or during if you're like us. Matured in American oak bourbon barrels and sherry casks for over a quarter of a century. Bottled at 46% ABV, the whiskey tastes of dark chocolate, zesty orange, oak, and nutmeg that finished with lingering warm spices and a hint of soft smoke. Make every sip count with Glen Grant today.
The Glen Grant. Drink responsibly. Copyright 2024. Campari America. New York, New York.
This week's Glen Grant top 5 of the top 25. We're going LPGA. I'm going to run through a couple of our all-time favorites. Yuka Saso, coming from Japan, plays really well. Great caddy that we know and love, and all-around game and all-around great energy when you see her on and off the course. Next up, Amy Yang. Amy Yang won a major this year, wears a bucket hat. Great caddy as well, a guy here from the States. She's Korean and one of the top players on the tour, and beautiful energy to be around. Next up, Miss Celine Bautier. Watched her win in Evian, French tie, I believe, mix, and plays an extremely well game, very accurate, very precision player, and was really cool to watch her win in France as a French person to win the major in Evian. So she's great, big fan. The next up, I'm going to go with young Gino, Thailand. Gino is super good energy, fun, playing extremely well. Young, but always in contention, and love to see Gino on and off the course. The last of the week, I'm going to go with Natalia Gustavo. Natalia is a rookie, Russian, played at University of Miami, and has an amazing, powerful swing, has been playing really well this year, worked her way into the CME, coming up soon, and just got second place out in Hawaii, where she lost to a Lim Kim, a.k.a. the Queen. So love Natalia and all the others. See you guys next week.
I try to tell people, like, explain my hatred for certain teams.
Yeah.
Now it's like, bro, I hate the Celtics. Like, granted, they got a great team, and I feel like they can.
It's a
win
sports
it
hate,
again
though.
and
It's not like a
everything.
real, but it's like, man,
it's
but
like, bro,
I want
we
to.
played. When I seen green, I used to like almost like a bull seeing red.
For
like,
sure.
I want to kill the leprechaun.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to take this guy's head off. But
For
at
sure.
the same time,
Kill
it's just
the
like,
leprechaun.
no, man, I was trying to go, bro, I want to kill this little dude. Man, I don't want to see him jump off the trampoline. I don't want to see all the banners. I don't want to see all the numbers. Like, I hate that checkerwood floor. Like, I hate it all. Like,
Yeah.
you know? But I love that aspect of golf because, like, man, when you see dudes drain putts and, like, you see the emotion and you stare down the other dude, that
Yeah.
shit is fire.
It's awesome.
This
You
is
know, and
dope.
it's not something that was like a part of golf for a long time. It was great when Tiger came around and like sort of added that, because there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you're in the sports field. It's like, it's an intense place. It's like guys are going to go chippy, but like he really used that to his advantage. Like he stepped on that tee and there was an intimidation. There was an intensity that was very unknown to everybody. Yeah. And he used that in a huge way because everyone was very uncomfortable about it.
And they couldn't do anything about it. It's
Nothing.
like there's just,
Nothing about it.
hey, you're paired with him.
All those
It's going to
people-
cost you 5 strokes.
All those people were his army. Like he had a home field advantage every time he played, and he knew it.
Still does.
He knew it. Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing like him. You know, he's his own world out there, and it comes over you. He's a cloud, and it's like, and that was cool to be sort of there and see it all and be a part of it. You know, being a competitor and being in his galaxy for a little bit was so cool, and it was so, you know, enlightening what he had to deal with every day. But man, you could tell that like that's an intimidating force. Like he was a force of nature to come when he was coming up that leaderboard. It was a real thing.
And you'd hear it roaring
It was
behind
a real
you.
thing.
Yeah.
And it was loud, and it was energy. And it was like that putt, like against Rocco, you know, I was talking to Sean Foley about it. We played that. We played pretty good, actually. And I think we had a top 10 that week. I don't know. We played great. And
Was
it
that
like,
at Torrey Pines?
Torrey Pines,
Yeah.
right? And you think about it, and you think about energy, and you think about all those people, all the crowd, the players, the commentators, we're all watching this putt. And the greens are terrible, and the greens are bouncy, and it's like, and everyone was hoping he would make that putt, except for Rocco and his caddy.
Yeah.
And his
Everyone
his
in
wife
the
or whatever.
world, other than
everyone
those
in the
two.
world is watching that putt,
Yeah.
hoping that it goes in and watching it and intently. I mean, that thing had like no chance not to go in.
Yeah.
There was so much energy and anticipation and like vibes on that putt alone, and the thing just grabbed that edge, man, and it just got forced into that hole, and that was the power of belief and how he played, and like found out he's got a broken leg and an ACL, and you're like, what?
Right.
No one can even step on the golf course with those things, and he's like, I'm gonna win this week. I'm just gonna will it. And it's like, you don't will things to happen like that in golf and other sports. It's like crazy.
It's
but
not
like,
only him willing it, it's that whole crowd.
and
it's the
everyone there was
universe doing it.
willing that thing for sure.
Jesper said that when he would play against them and such, but he said that it would be like, you know, like a putt, like, you know, breaks right to left or something. And he said Tiger would like pull the shit out of the putt. Like Jesper had the same putt a few hours earlier. The putt's right to left breaking. He said Tiger would like pull the putt and then it would break right and go in, you know? And he's like, how does that, like that putt goes the other way. But like Tiger had this energy of like almost like magical, where like putts that when he would hit it, Jesper would say, I would know that the ball's not going to go in the hole. And then it's just back of the cup, makes it again. And it was wild to hear him say it, but I think it is that energy and of like, everyone wants him to make it.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of will going at that putt, let alone him and his caddy.
Yeah, he's a belief system and just is out of this world. And his ability to just, like you said, he just saw it happening beforehand, and he just believed that it's going to happen. And that's a powerful thing, right? And I'm sure you've had teammates or whoever that can make you believe in anything.
Yeah.
With just leadership and just being around them. Like there's a different, you know, Jordan was a part of our President's Cup team in San Francisco and stuff. And it was like, man, I never heard of anyone so competitive, and just the way he lives his life
nuts.
and do things. It's like, I mean, it's like he's not even playing the tournament. And he's just there because Fred wanted him there, because it's like, why not? Why not have him to be around us and just talk and just his aura and just the conversation. And then he was a perfect part of like being relaxed. We got to be relaxed around him, was super fun. And then just his intensity was really neat. And to be like he just didn't, they're like, no,
Shit is nuts,
losing
man.
was just not an option that week. Right. And you sort of felt that, and he didn't have to really say anything. He wasn't there to like give speeches or anything. He just was there to sort of enact that aura of like, we're not going to lose. We're going to compete. We're going to have fun when we do it. But it's just like, it's just different. It was a different energy. And, in the basketball sphere, I can't imagine anyone's more, there's probably a weird balance of like fear and like love and respect for the guy.
100%. I mean, I played golf with him a bunch, and I feel like he takes that to the golf course too.
Oh,
like
it's
he's
everything.
one of the few people that like, you talk shit to your boys, and you know, there's that one guy like you just don't talk shit to.
Yeah.
And it's like he travels with that everything he does. Like
Yeah.
dudes talk shit to him in cars, and before you know it, he's fucking pulling all the money back in the pot. And it's like, bro, how are you doing this?
Right.
Like, I literally watched this dude lose 20 grand in the first 18, getting killed throughout like 13 or 14, and then the last 5 holes just turn it up, and it's just like, how? Like not like break even. Like how are you turning it on to where this guy's like and then he could be literally just making par, but the other guy's making double.
Yeah.
Like how are you making him afraid of what's about to happen? And it's like he's only controlling his own destiny.
Yeah, and he always he's a pressure guy. I was like, we played beforehand, like Sean O'Hare, myself, like Lucas Glover, I think Fred played with us, and Michael played with us beforehand that week, and we played like on a Sunday or Saturday, and the pressure is his thing. He's like, I'm just going to keep putting the pressure on you. You know, just play golf.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep, I just want to see what you're made of, right? He's just going to keep testing you. And that's what Tiger did. He just, no matter how he played, he never won, like a major. They always talk about that, not coming back from behind. But he knew that if I get ahead, you're not going to catch me. It's like, it's too hard to go play a major championship with that much pressure, to having to hit shots that you can't hit, and you want to catch him when he's rolling everything in. Exactly. Yeah. Like he's like, I'm not playing like a normal tournament or whatever. He's playing the Byron or Memorial, whatever. He's like, he knows he's never out of it. He knows that, but he knows in a major, if I get ahead, so like, I am comfortable and you're not.
Long day, long drink. A finish, long drink. Best enjoyed on the course with friends.
Cheers. I could see so many people like trying to miss a putt or something almost on purpose on Saturday, so I'm not in that group. Like I'd rather be 2 or 3 shots back, so I'm not in that group than opposed to being 1 or 2 shots back, and I got to play in his group that on Sunday.
It's a huge group. It's like
different.
Oh yeah, it's especially during like the phone era when everyone got a phone and that was a camera. It was a lot. Like we played at like TPC Tour Championship. It was like the first 2 days, and it's just like, this wasn't even like on a Sunday or anything, but it's just insanity, and he deals with it every day. He has to go out there and play. It's a lot that he sort of like dealt with that, and he just sort of made peace with it. But when you step into that circle, man, it's you're inside of just a tornado, and it's just like wild. It's just wild, and usually as a player, you get to tell people what to do. It's like, hey, I need you to move over here. It's like, no one's listening to you. No. Like Tiger's out in the fairway, they're all looking at him. No one's looking at you.
Yeah.
So trying to get anything done, or trying to tell like a marshal,
hey, excuse me,
I need assistance.
I'm playing too.
They're like, what? Who are you? Like, I have no idea who you are, sir. Like, well, I'm playing. Like it's just like
you're in this group.
So uncomfortable. It's just an uncomfortable place.
They would let you in here. Let him inside the room.
100%. But he used that to his advantage the whole time.
Foley we had on the other night, and he was talking about the difference between coaching all the different people he's coached from you to like Cameron Champ and everyone, and he was talking about Tiger and how it was like a perfect storm of like his mom would make him mandatory, meditate every day.
Yeah.
His entire life. And then his dad was like drill sergeant, like drills, obstacles, that insanity of like Western Vietnam Army special forces mixed with the Eastern like Zen Buddha, meditation, owning, being in the present, and all of those things. So like in the middle of that fishbowl or into that world, hurricane or whatever, tornado, he had that like zen of being able to just like, he's perfect.
Well, you see that like in, the always like football and quarterbacks and stuff, and like great players, whoever, like there's like chaos that's happening around you all the time, and in golf, especially in other sports, right? You don't really know what's around the corner, but you got to be prepared for anything, and like I always feel like when the team looks at the best player, Usually that's quarterback in the NFL. Basketball is just like who's ever the stud, right? If they're panicking, everyone's panicking. But if they're calm and they're chill, they're like, well, we're good. We got this. We're okay. Okay, we're okay.
For sure.
That calms everyone else down, right? And golf's hard because it's just you out there. But there's, Tiger always felt in control of everything that was going on, even when he wasn't in control. He always just looked, like you said, there was that disciplined mentality with this aura of like, we're okay. We're okay. We'll figure it out and we'll get there. We've got time. We've got 18 holes. It's not going to be perfect. That's what was the cool part of Tiger was like he can kind of get loose, but he'd always look like no big deal. I'll find a way.
Yeah. I seen him walk to the first tee and take his first tee shot at or one of those rounds at Augusta. And I've never seen someone shorter than me feel taller than me.
I got to go in for so I played this is when he won Liverpool after his dad died. We played early on Saturday. We made the cut sort of near the number. So we played super early, and so we kind of flew around the golf course and we got done. Now we've got like 8 hours. We got nothing to do. So we went out to the range in the short game area and just kind of ate a little bit, and we're just kind of sitting there chilling, and the leaders are coming around. I think DeMarco and I think Ernie was up there. Guys were kind of already there, and this car pulls up. He gets out. He's got his balls. Stevie goes in the back and grabs the clubs, and everyone on the range, players, caddies, spectators, ourselves, we watched him get out of the car, walk over with the bag, and just put the balls down. Takes like his deep breath, and he kind of pulls his glove out, and everyone's watching him. Everyone. And he just starts hitting wedges, and then everyone kind of stops and goes back to what they were doing. And then my caddy looks at me, he goes, I don't care who you are, that was intimidating. And it was the weirdest thing. And as you said, he was shorter than you physically, but that aura mentality, he's a big man. And he walked out of that car like he was the Hulk. And he was like, boys, you got no chance today. I never seen anything like it. I don't know how to explain it, but you explained it pretty well. I'd say like he was bigger than everyone that day. And it was like, it's just a wrap. And you hate to see that in golf or say that because you're like, you don't know. There's a lot of golf to be played.
Yeah, but there's not.
There's not a lot of golf to be played.
It's over.
This is like, it's a weird thing. Like he just, and it was intimidating. Like it was like how a golfer would be intimidating. Sounds kind of crazy, but it was for real. Like you walked on that tee, you're like, dude, it's different. You're not equipped to go to head today.
It's funny because I was talking to Brian and those guys, and I got a bunch of my boys are top 75 players of all time now, and they just had it a couple of years ago, and it was a different. Everybody was like, man, everybody was having a good time, and Magic's over here, and Larry's over here, and Isaiah, and D Wade and Melo, and all of a sudden MJ walks in, and everybody in the arena just stops and just like. And watch them walk all the way to Magic and start talking shit. Then everybody just continues back to doing what they're doing. I'm like, that presence is still like you can see older guys, you see the younger guys, you see the people his age. It's like everybody just ultimate respect. Just like holy shit, it's like watching Jesus walk through the room.
Right,
it's crazy. That experience is nuts. I've seen it with LeBron. Not to the magnitude of Mike with other superstars. Yeah. But like, with people who were just, 9 to 5s and everything, guy stops traffic. Of course. Like, but with other superstars, like it's MJ all day, like Tom Brady's and guys like, I just think it's a different feeling of greatness in the presence. You feel it. You just feel it.
Oh, for sure. Is it like, do you think it's like the 6 for 6? What do you think it is? Or is it just like the entirety of how he changed the business of basketball and sort of the culture in a way?
I mean, it's so much. I mean, he changed the culture of it from an aspect of having kids really think they can fucking fly. That was like the shoes, like you really thought the first time for me, I really remember thinking I could really run faster, jump higher, do all of that things if I had Air Jordans. Yeah. the business aspects, he crushed it with everything. Wheaties, fucking, I think he was selling like Duracell batteries or some shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
He had everything. And then, I mean, to top it all off, his style of play.
Yeah.
It was just, we've never seen it before.
I never seen, looking at that documentary, it was like at that time, it was like everyone drafted centers because you had to have size. If you didn't have size, it was a riot.
It was over.
But now you have, and we've seen it kind of since then, like 6'6" guard can dominate the league, but like actually dominate. Like that's not like a catchphrase. Like he physically dominated the games. And now we've seen that, Steph Curry dominates in a different way.
Yeah.
But do you think like it opened up the game to say, hey, you don't have to be 7 foot to walk into the NBA and be sort of a
100%.
dominant player?
Yeah. I mean, I think with him, it was like, because Hakeem was the first pick, and then it was Sam Bowie, and then it was him. I want to say like his teammate Sam Perkins, which is still a big guy. It was like power forward.
Yeah.
So it was like, and then James Worthy and all those dudes. So everybody was big but him. So I think definitely, I mean, it changed the landscape of understanding like being big and slow isn't as valuable as being quick, fast, and being athletic. Like,
Yeah.
there's one thing to be able to protect the rim and just stand there, but if a guy is 6'6", 6'7", he can jump over that guy,
Yeah.
or just blow past him and get around it. I think it just changed the landscape of it all. And then you got a guy like Bron who comes in bigger, stronger, faster, with vision. And that's just like, that's a whole different beast. It's crazy. Then you get, of course, Kobe, who's a 6'6"
Yeah.
resemblance of Mike and does pretty much the exact same thing. Way more tactical with scoring, but like,
But fierce. Like he was seemed like there's a weird fierceness to like every day that guys didn't know what to do with.
Yeah, Kobe was different because it was like Kobe and Mike were one and the same because their teammates were afraid of them.
Right.
So your teammates are like on the outside looking in, like I would think if your teammates are afraid of you, your opponents are definitely afraid of you.
Oh yeah, intimidating.
Like
for
it's
sure.
it's no way that it's like you could watch him walk in and his teammates would be like, "Oh shit, Kobe!" Like
Tighten up.
Yeah.
Tighten it up.
Let me.
Stop fucking off.
Strap your boots up today, baby. 'cause
He's
it's gonna
here.
He's here. And then there's other guys who have, roles and just like, okay, like who are still superstars, but I don't have to be so buttoned up. It's like going to that country club. It's just like you go to Shinnecock, I gotta get my shirt tucked in and button up to the top. Or you go to the Muni, got my shoes ain't tied. I got some flip flops on, maybe shirt untucked. I'm ready to go chill. But man, some locker rooms, dude. Whew. And then also organizations. Like I was telling a couple of guys, Kendrick Perkins and them was like, you get drafted to. As much as I was talking shit about them, like you get drafted to the Celtics, they're way about winning and how they protect winning and making sure it's all about that, opposed to going to a shitty franchise who people are just like, listen, man, good luck today.
You know it, right? Like when you walk in, probably
100%.
You're like, oh man, and that's unfortunate for like. I feel terrible for a young player who probably needs guidance and he needs support.
100%.
Right. It's been fun. I Jason Kidd here in Dallas. Went to a few games with my son. My son loves the basketball games because it's so high energy and it's so fun. And Luka's like ridiculous. It's fun to play. Talking to Jason though, it's like you can tell they've got a culture and an organization that's supporting all the players to be their very best.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, being able to go to work today in a culture like that versus a culture like where that like it's a business that's not about winning. I feel so bad for young players like that who don't experience something that's as supportive as it sort of needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a good way. And that's, Jason's a great guy. And I always felt like, man, he does a great job of blending coaching, but being a good person to help these young players, because some of them are so young, help them along their journey, because it's like the league, these sports, I think golf is entering this young phase where I really feel like the 40-year-olds playing, it's a wrap. You're done. If you're not,
You got to go on the senior tour, but
there's no. It's like the senior tour can be 40 now. You're really
you
could.
might as well just
because
switch
it's when I was Kenny Perry was playing great. He just like in his 40s he took off. Vijay Singh in his 40s he started to kill it. Jim Furyk was still winning, dominating in his 40s.
Adam Scott played pretty good last year.
He did,
right?
He did, yeah.
For the other side of that,
for sure.
But there's not a lot.
I can't think of any. There's no way they're making any teams, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're going young, and it's like it feels like it's a little more furious pace for these young guys in golf because they're so good, so fast. They're so physical now. Golf was a little bit more like mental, and it was like time. You got to not wait your time, but like there was a little bit more maturity to it. Yeah. Guys are so good now, and it has definitely a different attitude to it, which is great.
Right.
Which I think golf is better for. Is like guys are like just crushing it. It's like we're gonna hit it long, we're gonna hit it hard, and we're gonna hit it far, and then we'll figure out the rest later.
Yeah, after we find it.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you can do that, it's sort of like what we're talking about. Like, if you can bang it, and especially at your youth, because it's really hard to do it when you're 30.
Yeah.
But when you're young and you can just like find your physical limit and keep swinging harder and faster and faster and faster and faster, you'll figure everything else out.
Yeah.
Figuring out hit it inside 100 yards and pitch shots and stuff. That's just technique. That has nothing to do with feel. That's just someone can teach you that 100%, right? But to hit it far and to hit it strong like that, and to be real athletic, man, that's something you really got to do, and you really got to do when you're young,
and
really
it and learn it and get it
for sure, and take take it far and wide, and then just keep bringing it in to the fairways where you got a little more control over it, because that's 100% the way the game's moving.
Damn, man, I got a lot of work to do. What's going on, everybody, at Part 3? We just want to let you know this podcast is brought to you by Top Golf. Enjoy your friends at Top Golf. You can log on anywhere, topgolf.com, and go check it out. We'll be there.
Stop keeping score. You don't have that much to do.
Stop keeping score.
Makes it a lot easier.
Bro, I can't, man. I'm still playing. I plan on still playing collegiately, and it's like, I got benched the other day. Or a week ago.
Fool's up in like the Rolls Royce. He's playing college golf, getting out with the Rolls Royce, the Rolexes, and all that. Playing with fucking 17-year-olds that are shooting 67s.
66, bro.
He said
I get listen.
He shoots
I'm
79.
I shoot 79. Right, it's like my first time in the 70s in a tournament round. So I'm feeling good. Like I'm like, bro. Like, all right. Like, come on. Like you go. This is where you start working it down. Like, come on. Bro, I get in there and I look at the damn leaderboard, and kid played earlier. He played before I got in. He's done already. Shot 66. This dude's 17 years old. I'm just like, yeah, so that 79 ain't really mean shit anymore.
Only 13 guys.
I don't count today. That's a bummer.
It's just like, God. And then my teammates are sure enough. One of my teammates is like, who's supposed to be really, really good. He shoots like 82. I'm like, he's really, really good, and I beat him?
Yeah.
Like, how is this? And then sure enough, Sugar goes to shit. I go 79, like 85. The kid redeems himself. Shoots like 77 in the second round. I'm just like, yeah, he's better than me. You could do that back-to-back rounds, and then the last round he shoots even par. I'm like, yeah, I don't have a chance. Coach benched me 2 weeks ago. I was just like, you know what, man? I'm just find a club to join and just bang balls down the range and figure it out in the spring.
Stay in your simulator.
I'll figure it out in the spring, man. Like, I gotta grind. It's so hard. It's hard. The worst part about it is I'm telling all of my teammates to keep a good mindset, keep a good attitude, just keep.
It's easy to say.
Little do they know.
Easy to say. Snapping clubs in the trees back there.
Like, looking for the marshal, hit the vape so he don't see me, so I don't get kicked out. Like, I'm over here struggling.
Hell of a game we play.
You play. I don't even know if this is considered playing for me anymore.
Do you have those moments where you're on the range and you're just like striping, and you're like, I got it today, and you get on that tee and you're like, I forgot who I am. I don't know what happened. Who's this guy?
For
10
sure.
minutes.
in 10 minutes.
10-minute
I
walk
swear I
changed
hate
everything.
I hate the ride and the walk from the range to the tee box. I hate it. Cause it's like everything that I'm feeling good and I feel like I got it, and then sure enough I'll get to the tee box, we'll figure out the game, and then the first swing I forget the last swing on the range. The last swing I remember on the range, I was supposed to have it here and do this, and then a little turn through. That first swing is such a free swing. I forgot everything I worked on, and then I feel like that after that shot, the rest of the 18 rounds is just trying to find what I was hitting on the range. It's
Chasing
the worst.
it.
I'm chasing it.
It's like Lee Six last night. I said, you have really good tempo. Like, she does like a little pause at the top without trying. She feels like she's doing that, but it actually pauses a sec. And we are like, that's what we need, like give your body time to turn and everything. A lot of reasons why that's good. She said, well, I don't even feel like that's what happened, and that's just naturally what's happening. So I said, you have great tempo. Do you think you have great tempo? And she's like, well, I definitely have great tempo on the range, and then you go out there and it's like,
yeah, exactly. It speeds up so fast. It speeds up in an incredible way from the range to like the rhythm you have in the field, right? And then almost in the course, just that, expectation and that moment of being on the course where it counts, and it does. It just speeds everything up. I mean, that would be your feelings. That's why feelings are they're so funky. They're just not real. You cannot be a feel dependent. You got to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. And you got to the amount of belief and trust you have to have. I mean, it's got to be a 12. I mean, anytime you start having doubts about things and you start
it's over.
It's over. You're done, and then you're just going backwards. But it's
amazing
hard,
how it works. Where sometimes it's just that belief thing with your brain. Like sometimes I'm in a match and I'm playing against the guy, and then I start to think I can't hit the ball, I can't beat this dude, and I'll just get crushed. And then the same match, the same time, another time, I think to myself, I feel very, very, very confident. And I know there's no way the dude can beat me. And it could be the same guy on the same bet, on the same course, on the same hole. I played a few days ago with remember you met the president of our club, Mr. DePaul, the big Cleveland guy. Him and I played against the two assistant pros in the employee versus member tournament. So we have the 9-hole match, and we're doing that alternate shot, something or another. I got to hit his drive. So I had 230 uphill, 220 uphill into the wind on the longest, hardest par 4 on the course. And the pros, they had hit it way down there. So they were wedge, and I'm hybrid, 3 hybrid. And so before I hit, I looked at him and I said, I'm going to break their hearts when I hit the green. I'm getting ready to break their hearts when I hit the green right now, because we get a stroke too, but I'm hitting a hybrid. They're hitting like a wedge. And I said it to him before I hit it, and I knew there was no chance in the world I could miss the shot. And I hit it just as good as you could ever hit a 3 hybrid. As soon as I hit it, the ball was only 10 yards away from me at that point. And I just looked at him and I said, heartbreaker, heartbreaker, heartbreaker. And sure enough, it went up, drew, lands on the green, stops by the hole. So now we're landing one. We lay 15 foot from the pin, and then, but it's the feeling just goes in you where it's it was an uphill lie. It was a hard shot, full hard as I can hit a 3 hybrid. And I hit it just as perfect as I could ever possibly hit it. But I knew I was going to hit it perfect. Or in another match, the club championship thing, I had a 8-foot putt for birdie to win the match on 18. And I could have shut my eyes. There was no way I could miss the putt. Like you said, on the 5-footer or whatever. It's I know I'm going to make it. I don't even have to it's just, all I have to do is wait for them to miss their putt and get the hell out of the way. And I'm definitely making the putt. And I can't affect it and make it not go in unless I truly tried to, right? But then on the other side, I'll have the same putt to win, and I get a feeling I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss. And I know I'm going to miss it. Talking about Jordan Spieth when he was putting at his prime, I was watching on TV and see his face. And I'm like, oh, he's going to make this. It's a 22-foot putt. Like, there's no way this dude's missing the putt.
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, when he wasn't putting well, you'd see him over a 10-footer, and I'd look at his face and go like, dude, he's going to miss this.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he can make this putt.
Right.
It's such a wild thing, even that, like what we talked about earlier, where like, if I got a 5-footer, JR's got a 20-footer, he makes a 20-footer. I can't make the putt now.
Right.
It's like such a mind, like you're saying, your feelings aren't real, but like, God, they get in the way.
Yeah. And when you like, there's a state of like being relaxed when you're swinging, right?
Yeah.
Because you just knew that, like, hey, it's like you already saw it happen. So you're just like, I just have to do it.
Yeah.
I just have to swing it. But man, when you try to, it's like just that little squeeze,
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah. Or like if I go, if it's like, I go on a par 3 over a lake and I think I'm going to hit it in the water. It's like, 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 what do you do? Because you do have those thoughts.
I think I'm gonna blow it over.
It's so hard to flip it in your brain.
Yeah, you got to be, a psychologist had a great line was like, you got to be a river. I mean, thoughts are that stream and they just come and then you got to watch it just go, they have to go by you. Mm-hmm. Okay. You cannot be a dam where they just start piling up and you just start seeing everything. It's like the amount of, and I've talked to everybody and like Spieth or whatever, when he won that, the Masters by like 7 shots or whatever. And he'll tell you is like, he was freaking out on Sunday. Freaking out. First hole was like, all of a sudden you're in this position, but like he was totally confident and everything in his brain was just flowing through. It was just, just a river. It was just gone, but man, there's times when you get out there and play,
Starts damming up on you.
And every thought is just like, and it's just right in your face, like, don't hit it there, don't hit it there, don't hit it there. And everything is literally blocking you from actually seeing what you want to do, right? And that's the hard part of golf is like, the good thing with basketball is it's so fast, right? It's catch and you know where you're going. Golf and you're standing there. Oh. And maybe somebody hit a bad shot and then you have to watch that and they're like, oh my gosh, that's in my brain already, right? Yeah. And it's like, man, getting rid of all that stuff is so hard to just getting to like, what am I doing? What am I trying to do? Where's my target, right? What are the very simple essences of just what I'm trying to do on this one shot and not letting, just letting those things come and then they go.
It's funny because I try to do I kind of get into that Snedeker. Like I'll tell me the number. What's the number? All right, cool. That's what and I'll go hit instead of trying to take in so much. Because sometimes it's like you said, too much information. It's like, okay, the wind is a little left to right. And I don't want to be right. And I don't know, like, okay, cool. I want to hit it there. Let me hit it there. And just get up there and hit the shot.
Everyone's very different like that. Phil loves information. And so he'll talk to his caddy and they're just having this whole discussion and breakdown of the shot in every sense of the wind and the club and where it's got, but he loves it. He loves the minute details of where they're trying to land it and why and what's it going to do when it lands and how far we have and all that stuff. But sometimes the guys are very stock and just very like, it's 155 and let's just hit this right there. And that's it. And that's all you need to know. But, so it's like that's the time of, your son trying to figure all that stuff out. Of like, where's your best? Where do you live in that sort of space in that area? Because there's no wrong answer. It's just the one that it has to be you. It has to be your independent way of thinking how you go about it. But there's plenty of ways to do it. It's just discovering that is really a challenge.
Yeah. I think what you were saying earlier, like you hit a few balls go straight because you aim wrong or whatever. Yeah. Wave God Wilcox. Willie is been, up in Pebble a bunch and messing with Remy. And he's like, at this point, all you have to do now is lock in on like the littlest things. Like, where are you aiming? He's like, tell me, go through this thought process. Yeah. Like, he's like, out loud, tell me what you're doing. And he's like, I'm just going to hit it at the green. He's like, yeah, but like, where are you aiming?
Yeah, you're too good for that. We're past that.
He's like, yeah. Like, we're going to strike the ball, right? Like, you're striking it. Your swing's good. You can shape it. Okay, great. Now, he's like, where do you tell me a little more? And he's like, he can't really tell too much. So he's like, all right, pick a spot on the green. And he's like, are you picking the spot on the green or are you picking the tree behind the green? Right? Like, it doesn't matter. And he's like, well, which one should I do? And he's like, well, it doesn't matter, but you have to pick one or the other. Like, are you picking something in front of the green as your target or something in the background of the green for the target. You're still going to try to land 5 foot left of the pin, right? But going down to the littlest, smallest details, and even trying to work on him on, like, if you're going to play a cut, tee off on the right side of the tee box. If you're going to play a draw, tee off on the left side. Like, you don't see tour guys tee off in the middle that much.
Yeah.
Right? There's some intent.
There's a process and a feeling of how, I think, like you said, but Jordan's a great example. I always feel like you can see it on his face.
Yeah.
Like, and he's talking to Greller, like, they're really talking about the shot and really breaking it down. And like, I'm thinking of hitting this shot. I'm going to kind of squeeze it and hit it low and scoot it. They're really explaining the whole entirety of the shot. And I think that's massive. And especially guys trying to get better and break through and like breaking 80 or breaking 70. It's like when you can break down the shot more and more just to be able to see it and explain it to yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing because I think your body and your brain starts to like, oh, okay. It's like starts to like go from your brain to your hands and your body and feel and then becomes a movement, right? It came from a thought to like a whole physical thing. But it's really easy just to be like, I just want to hit it on the green.
Yeah. And then,
but it's like, no, he's like, you're past that point. Hitting on the green, we're trying to hit.
Yeah.
We're trying to execute something that's going to end up being a close shot so we can make birdie, right? Because if we had 15 feet versus 8 feet, right, that improves our odds. That improves our odds over days and over time.
I think speaking it out loud too, like when I play my best is when I call every shot out loud to a caddy.
It's great.
Or like if I play with Willie, when I play with Willie, he's caddying now for Sung Jae. He's obviously was on tour. He's great, but he won't let me hit without saying what I'm going to do, So it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like I just rush up there. I'm just going to go hit. It's like, whoa. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm going to hit a hold off cut down the left rough and cut it into the fairway. And he's like, the wind's coming from the right. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm going to hit it down the right rough and release it and let it draw. I think that's better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like, I'm going to hit the hold off cut down the left rough. The wind's going to hold it. It's not going to cut. It's going to get stuck in the rough. And then I'm not going to be able to get it close on the next shot.
Yeah.
So like, just like that would have saved me, him being there saved me 2 strokes. Basically. Because I would have had to hit a 5 iron out of the rough. It would have tumbled if I hit it perfectly and gone off the back of the green. Versus the other way, I would have got to hit a 7 iron from the fairway, and I could hit a 7 iron high from the fairway, and then they hit and stop. So I go from pretty much a guaranteed bogey to a really good chance of birdie.
Yeah.
Just from hitting. So he's like, always kids around. He's like, dude, you're really good, but like you need a caddy. Like you can't go play by yourself. Like these decisions you're making. Or on the other day on a par 5, I had like, 110 in from the fairway. And he's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm going to hit a gap wedge with a draw. And he's like, okay, let's see how that works for you. Right. And so I hit it. Perfect, lands right by the hole, rolls all the way back to the back of the green on the back fringe. And then I have like a horrible downhill putt from the back fringe where I'm going to have a hard time putting it because I hit it with the draw spin and I did exactly what I tried to do. And then he's like, no tour player would ever do that. He's like, no one would ever hit a hard gap wedge there ever with a draw. He's like, take the pitching wedge, open your stance, open the face, hit it high and hold it off. I do that. I hit it. It's 4 foot. So it goes from like, I was about to make a bogey by my bonehead decision, or I make a birdie with the proper decision. It gets where going from that 4 handicap to a +2 or 3 handicap, it's just like you do that 2 or 3 times around, it costs you 6 strokes. Like I kid around with the tour guys when I play with them. They're like, how you playing? I'm like, I'm just as good as you for 13 or 14 holes. Like I'm guarantee it. Like 14 holes, I'm the same as you. But then I make 4 doubles and you make 4 birdies and you beat me by, 15 strokes. Like, whoops.
Yeah, it's very
whoops.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like playing with Tony Finau that he's like that much better than me, but he is. He beats me by 15 or 20 strokes, it seems. And like a lot of the holes, like I have good birdie putts.
Yeah.
But I don't make as many as he does. And then his worst, he's going to make 2 bogeys, 5 birdies, and shoot a little boring, 68.
Yeah.
Like didn't even play good, 4 under. And I make 5 bonehead decisions, miss 5 or 6 putts, and I shoot 82 or 3. And it's like, damn, I didn't really feel like he was that much better than me. But imagine now 4 days of that. Guys could beat me by like 70, 80 strokes in 4 days. Like, wow.
That's what, like you were saying earlier, as far as like working back, like that's my thing. Like 4 or 5 tee shots, bro. Like it's literally that simple. It's just like being too aggressive or not picking the right shot for that hole. It's like, okay, granted, you naturally hit draws, but again, if the wind is going left to right and everything is on the right, or like number one have you played Mary? You play Mary though.
Yeah.
Number one at Mary though. It's like the tee's way up to the left, but it's such a long hole. Just hit it out to that right side and you'll be fine. But instead you hit that hard draw hook left. Now I'm in the left shit hitting up to that green. I gotta hit the 6-iron. That's not gonna hold the green if I make it up there. And then I'm just banging the ball all around all day opposed to just picking the right line.
Well, there's a difference between playing golf and like really like trying to shoot a score, trying to shoot a real score. Like, how do I, negate risk and really put myself in position to sort of succeed, right? Like, what are your strengths and weaknesses and certain things, right? If you can go out and play and for as little control as we have sometimes when we play, but if you can put yourself as much as you can into situations or clubs that you like and that you feel comfortable with as often as you can when you play, I mean, the better chance you have to score, right? I don't know your strengths or weaknesses, right? But like sometimes, I mean, I've seen the high school kids that I coach, sometimes they'll just like, they put themselves in spots that they're just not good at. Like, you can't hit that shot. You're just like, they play usually par fives horribly, and they usually try to be way too aggressive. And it's like, if you just gave yourself, just try to hit it within 150 on your second shot, maybe 100 yards or so, and just get on the green. Like, maybe hit middle of the green. Let's make our focus or weakness have a birdie putt, right? Like, sometimes they're just sort of playing and just like hitting shots instead of like, how are we going to get a score today? Like, how are you going to, instead of shooting 85, shoot a 78? Is it just going to be a few decisions, like you're saying? But like, were those decisions or were those bad swings? We're going to make a lot of those. But what about like those decisions that can have, multiplier effect on what we sort of do, right? And so playing golf, hitting shots, they're very, very different, but it's a hard thing to teach, right? It's a hard thing to like, for kids to grasp that concept who don't have a lot of like tournament experience. That's why playing tournaments and just playing a lot is it's so important and so valuable to be in different situations.
The other day, Remington, so when I see him play in these tournaments and I see him with like their middle school team, they practice at Spanish Bay and Spyglass.
That's terrible.
Jesus.
Yeah, can you imagine that? And the Pebble Academy is the range. It's like, whoa. Anywho, he'll be like, because I can't talk to him in a match. I can't say anything. I'm just watching from the sidelines, like massive anxiety watching. And he'll hit it like one of the last matches, he had downhill lie in the wet rough, and he pulls 4-iron. And I'm like, oh. Because I know he can't hit that shot. Like, I know he can't hit it. Of course. So sure enough, he like takes his hands and, puts his hands forward. He makes the 4-iron a 2-iron. And then he hits it pure, but it just like burns through the rough. Doesn't get in the air, right? At all, which is just like a horrible thing. So then the other day we're out practicing and I see a wet downhill lie in the rough. And I'm like, get your 4-iron. Let's fix this, right? Let's get through this.
Explain.
Yeah. So he does it. Sure enough, shuts the face, hits it, worm burner in the, and I'm like, all right, great swing. Do the exact same thing, but open the face, keep your head behind the ball, and hit it as high as you can hit it with a cut. And then, sure enough, he starts hitting like high cut tumblers that will then like land on the front of the green or in the front of the fairway, and then like tumble up on the green, or at least close enough where he can get up and down and make par. Versus the other one, he hit it 10 yards in the rough. Yeah. Now he's got the same shot. And pulls 4-iron again in deeper rough, does the same thing, maybe barely tumbles it out, and it's like, there you go, triple bogey. Just some bad decision. So with Remy, I'm just thinking like, try to teach him every single shot there is, and one day he'll get smart enough, hopefully, to be able to decide when to hit those shots?
Yeah, it's an experience. I had the same kid, high school kid, like in the rough, and I'm like, they pulled it like high red, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, like
this is
it's
just
not
going
to work.
It's just going to
Yeah.
tumble out. They don't understand, like the rough, it smothers the ball, and so we got no loft, we got no height on it, and so it's just, you know, opportunity to understand, like, you know, Phil was great. Phil Mickelson was the best at reading lies, and that's something that's another like skill that
Whole
like
nother
players like. It's like a
algebra.
whole nother thing of like, can you read the lie, right? As when we experienced, like you can't hit that shot because you didn't read the lie, you didn't understand what was going to actually happen, right?
Yeah.
And reading the lie around the greens and fairways and rough shots, it's like it's massively important. That's why you really got to like play a lot and experience Bermuda and the wet and the thick and rye and bluegrass and Bermuda and all those things, because they all create different, they're going to create different shots in different situations and different lofts and stuff. So it's a massive time for young people and anyone playing golf, man. Read the lie, understand what it's going to do, and when it does it, try to figure out why it happened, why it did that. You know, it's just like you said, it's like you got to do this, you got to adjust, because the lie is that's gonna squeeze it out. You lost all your loft out of there.
The 4-iron turns into a 2-iron.
And it's a multiplier, and then then you dumble out of there, and all of a sudden it's like now we're going uphill, and just one decision, one moment, right? It's just like is all it takes. But you can't let that ruin your round. It's a learning opportunity, but those things are killers, right?
Yeah. Well, Hunter, thank you so much for coming on in your valuable time. That was a great. I could sit here and do this for 2 more hours.
Man, this is all day. This is easy. I'm learning so much. I can't wait to get to the range. Exactly. I'm telling you. Watching swing videos all morning and shit. It's like, I think that's one of the another thing that like kind of like kills, not kills, but makes the game so much harder when you see, because everybody's doing something different. And everybody's swing, I think, is so unique to their own individual game, body, and everything else. And I could sit here and watch 100 Tiger videos, but if I don't swing like Tiger and I don't have the hand placement and all that, I'm watching the wrong shit. So it's like I'm getting worse.
DNA is really important. I think all golfers have their own like swing DNA, and understanding what your DNA is and your movement patterns and what are the things you can improve on identifying those is very challenging. And finding a coach that understands the difference, right? Like it's great to look at certain players and like, man, I want to swing like that. You just might not be able to. You might physically, your release, your grip, how you want to feel when you're going through might be totally opposite of what they actually do. So it's like really understanding like how you swing when it's really, really good, understanding that, and how you can improve on that swing. And not going backwards trying to swing like somebody
Yeah, that's not
else.
going to work.
It's just not going to work, right? Like it's powerful. Like Scotty Scheffler is a great example of that, man. He swings his own way. Like you can't, he's kind of over it and then he kind of backs up into it, but he does it every time. And him and Randy have a great understanding of like what his cues are for doing it consistently and understanding what they have to watch to make sure that it doesn't, gets worse, right? Like where is he going to falter? And making sure they know that. And Randy's great at that stuff, because it's like a lot of other teachers would be like, no, we have to do this, but that's going to take away from his DNA and the things that he does really, really well, and that's like, you gotta massage it, we're not knocking over the building. We're just kind of adding to it and taking little pieces of, clay on and off. It's not an overhaul,
He's
it's
a
hard.
big
Golf's
guy,
hard.
right?
Big guy. Yeah. He's probably 6'3" and big shoulders, but he's sort of that golf athlete version, big and strong and powerful, right? In his own way.
I'm gonna take some notes.
So watch him out at your new club.
There you go.
Watch the foot movement. You got some footwork now. I got some footwork, but not that kind of
no one
footwork.
can teach that. You're like, hey, I need you to like slip when you're going through the ball. It's like, what? Slide through it.
Pure though.
Yeah, somehow make perfect contact and ball doesn't move for 300 yards.
Ron Del Barrio, my coach, he's the kind of a guy that's a little chubbier guy. He went to him and said, I want to swing like Freddie Couples. And he said, you swing like a couple Freddies. If you're not sleeping with Freddie's wife, you're not going to be swinging like Freddie Couples. So I agree. Own Your Swing, Part 3 podcast. We'll see you on another episode. Thank you, Hunter.
Thank you.
Bye.